What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Another match day is upon us. We got a lot.
It's been a great few days to see Tottenham play. It's been nice.
Yeah,
you know. Slap up meals. We've launched a new app, website. It's been a brilliant few days.
Rob Pickering absolutely doing bits.
It's been a great
on
few
the
days.
website. Absolutely doing bits. The song that we saw online, Rob Pickering, website never looks so good.
So good, so good, so good.
That's how good. But look,
I watched the training yesterday. It's reeled me back in.
Yeah, has it?
Reeled
has
me
it?
back in.
Yeah,
I saw some one-touch play again.
We shall see how much it's reeled you back in when you make your match prediction. That's when we'll see how much it's reeled you back in. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the game, let's start off with a Tottenham update let's start off talking about the fixture rescheduling, as the Aston Villa game has now been rescheduled to the Sunday 7 p.m. kickoff, which Sports Trust ain't happy with. Certain fan groups not happy with, because it leaves people with not many options to get back home after the game. However, Dale Johnson was saying on social media last night that Villa's home game against Tottenham has been rescheduled, like I mentioned. It gives Villa an extra day's rest before the second leg. However, it could play into our hands a little bit, as the Premier League has scheduled Nottingham Forest to play away to Chelsea on Monday the 4th. That leaves 3 days before their second leg of their Europa League semi-final, and it will be the one time this season that Europa League or Conference League game has been scheduled on a Monday.
I think it's happened to us before, hasn't it?
It definitely happened to us.
Didn't it happen last season? No, I'm trying to think.
I think it might be one of the group stage games it happened, but regardless, this season it's the first time it's happened. And yeah, that could play into our hands. You know, Villa, Nottingham Forest went off with a few injuries last night as well. 3 injuries in the game.
Who's got injured?
Chris Wood, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and there was one more as well. I can't remember who.
Definitely injuries?
And Murillo.
Definitely injuries.
Well, I mean, Hudson-Odoi did not look happy at all. Chris Wood went off in the first half, and Murillo definitely went off holding something as well. So I don't know what the extent of the injuries are.
I think both things, the fact that Villa and Forest went through yesterday, definitely plays into our hands, because I think definitely the more distractions for Nottingham Forest, the better for us. And as you said, the fact that they're not going to have much rest, I think they are going to. I think before this round, maybe they could have afforded to rest a few players in the Europa League or whatever. You could maybe juggle both, but now you're playing a Premier League team, you're playing Aston Villa, who are in the top 4 at the moment in the Premier League. You kind of have to pick. Are you going to go?
Last week.
Are you going to pick? Are you going to go full strength at Villa game, or are you going to go full strength at Chelsea game? Because I don't think they can win both, mixing and matching. They're going to have to go full strength. So if they go full strength in that Europa League game, I definitely think that could definitely suffer for the Villa game in the Europa League, and for the Chelsea game in the Premier League, which would be great for us. In terms of Villa as well, the fact that they've got that little bit of distraction, you know, top 4, as much as they're in a commanding position, we'll have to see where they are when we play them. They're not going to want to take it for granted. They've been burnt before, haven't they? Like last season, they missed out by, a point. They don't want that to happen again. So if it's still fairly in the balance, come the game we play them, they might, we'll see whether they take it seriously or not. If they're well clear, then maybe they'll rest players for our game.
Look. Aston Villa, if you're watching this now, remember the back end of last season when we were going for the Europa League. We played you in that stage and we rested majority of everyone. So it's time to return the favour. Do you reckon we can even capitalise on it? Even if they do rest everyone. But on the flip side of that as well, Crystal Palace were seen partying till the early hours of the morning yesterday in Florence, and they had a few significant injuries in the game as well. I heard Adam Wharton went off, and Mateta went off at half-time, and someone else went off as well. So yeah, it wasn't great watching that, seeing as they've got West Ham this weekend.
Yeah, I think West Ham will be looking at their lips, looking at that, thinking, you know, they're not going to be, might be a bit worse for wear.
To be fair, though, going out on a Thursday night, for Monday night, you should be completely fine.
Wasn't for us when we played Brighton.
Yeah. Well, they were on a 3-day binge. Like, they're not going to be in a 3-day binge.
Yeah, true. So let's hope they'll be all right. Let's hope they take it seriously. But they are in a very good position in the league. They're pretty safe. They know that their season is that Conference League, isn't it? So I hope they don't take their eye off the ball and give West Ham a game. But West Ham was very happy with what they were watching, I think, on Thursday.
Absolutely. Let's move on. Let's talk about the team news as relayed by Roberto De Zerbi in the press conference. He says that he doesn't want to push James Maddison as we used Kudus in this way, and therefore has refused to set a timeline on his return. He also mentioned that it's better to lose a game than lose a player. ITK on social media, SZY, says the expectation is that James Maddison could return in around 2 weeks to first team action. So that would bring him back for the Leeds game, I would imagine.
Leeds, yeah, which would be great if he can come back into contention for that game. But in terms of what he's saying about Kudus, I mean, so frustrating to hear that. Obviously, as fans, and I'm sure as De Zerbi joining the club, he was desperate for Kudus to rejoin the team because we need wingers and we need players available. He was probably pushing him hard to, get him fit. We heard he was going to be fit after the international break and during that international break, and then it got delayed a bit, and he was set to be in contention for the Sunderland game. But then we heard a few days before he pulled up with a reoccurrence of the injury, and now he's out for another 3 months. So to hear De Zerbi kind of basically admit we pushed him too hard, we tried to force him back too early, and now we're in a situation which obviously this club has been guilty of before. We did it last season with Romero, Van de Ven a couple of times last season. So it's not the first time this has happened. Obviously, Ange got the brunt of the blame last time out. Is it a pattern with this medical team that they're getting their timelines wrong and they bring back players too early, or are we pushing players too hard to come back too early and putting too much pressure on them and forcing re-injuries? There's a clear pattern now of getting players back, trying to get players back and then getting re-injured with the same injury. And I don't see how that can't be on the medical staff, how that can't be their remit to make sure when players are coming back, they're coming back fit and not re-injuring the same injury that they've just got. I think it's ridiculous. So to hear that is very, very frustrating. If we would have given him maybe a 1 or 2 more weeks rest, maybe we could have had him for this game or the game after this. So, I mean, it boggles the mind how we've done this again, essentially.
Yeah, look, I think it's a different situation now as it was under Ange Postecoglou, and it's also a completely different medical team as well. So it's hard to pin it on anything. I don't know.
Doesn't matter if it's a different medical team. It's a pattern of our medical team doing it.
Yeah, but apparently, from what we heard, is that Ange actually ignored the advice of the medical team in certain situations last season. So we don't know if it's consistently the medical. We don't know. We don't know the situation. But right now, as of who's to blame, the medical team or De Zerbi, again, we don't really know.
I don't know how it can't be the medical team. I don't know how it can't be. Yeah, he wasn't even playing. He was in training. Yeah. So he got injured. So if he's been rushed back into training and they've gone too hard with it, that has to be on the medical team. Surely there has to be a conversation there. I think it's ridiculous that this is being allowed to happen again, and it could cost us dearly. It could cost us dearly because he's one of our most important players right now that we need.
Yep, absolutely. He's also confirmed that Rodrigo Bentancur and Yves Bissouma are both available to play versus Brighton. He did say that on Bentancur, he doesn't know if he's going to start, but Bissouma is available and 100% more than the Sunderland game. However, Vicario remains out. So, yeah, look, positive on Bentancur and Bissouma. I think Bissouma adds something that we don't have in that midfield if he is, at his best. And Bentancur, I think, is a welcome return as well.
Definitely, I think both of them get experience in that middle of the park, a bit of maybe a strength, and definitely a bit more comfort on the ball, a bit more composure, which maybe the players that we got right now aren't offering, unfortunately. I definitely think Bissouma offers something very different, as you say. So I'm more excited about him coming back. I think his ability to take the ball under pressure and break through the lines with some of his passes as well, I think it's just something that we haven't seen from any of our midfielders, and I think Bissouma is the only one who's shown at his best that he's what he's capable of in the recent past. Rather than I think Bentancur we haven't seen in a while, and all our other players haven't shown it at all. So hopefully Bissouma can get back to his best. I think he needs to be in the team. Obviously Bentancur, it's good to have him back, and then Vicario. It's interesting hearing his words about Vicario because He said that Vicario obviously is not fit, but he said he's a player he's excited to work with, and he's with good experience. And he said we're waiting for him. He said even though Kinski played well, he said we're waiting for Vicario. So I don't know how if I was Kinski, I don't know how I'd feel hearing that, because obviously you like to feel like if you're playing well and you've got your spot, you'd keep it. He's kind of implying that we're basically waiting for Vicario to come back and he'll be number one again, which isn't surprising. But I'm just saying, if I'm Kinski, I probably wouldn't feel great about that.
Look, the reality is Kinski has one good game. So I think Vicario is the club number one. And
yeah, but let's say he had a great game tomorrow, and and let's say Vicario's out for another game, he has another great game, why should he be dropped?
I think if he carries on having these great games, then I think there'll probably be a decision that have to be made, and maybe that can sway Roberto De Zerbi's mind. But as of now, Vicario is the number one, and Kinski's only had one good game. I
understand that, but he doesn't have to say it. It doesn't say we're waiting for him. He just says, yeah, look, Vicario not fit yet, and with its form.
I think he's just saying we're waiting for him, like we're waiting for all our players to come back. I think it's just something that he's saying because we've got players injured and we're waiting for them to come back.
I don't think he has to say we're waiting for him like that. I don't know, the way he put it.
I think you're reading a bit too much into it.
I'm not. I think he's implying he's going to be our number one, which is not. Again, he is our number one, but if I'm Kinski, I'd feel like if I'm playing well, why should you be waiting for Vicario to come back? Why can't you rely on me? That's what I think if I'm Kinski.
Look, I think as of now we are waiting for Vicario to come back because he's the better keeper. Mm-hmm. So if Vicario comes back in 2 games' time and Kinski's still playing this way and he's putting in top performances, then another conversation will be had, and Roberto De Zerbi's decision might get swayed. But as of right now, time of making the press conference, we are waiting for Vicario to come back. Mm-hmm. Transfers. Spurs Journo and SZY last night claimed on social media that Senesi has agreed to be a Tottenham player under the condition that the club maintaining their Premier League status. Senesi ideally wants to stay down south, and he's been open to a move for THFC for several months. Game time is also a key factor. And then David Ornstein dropped the bomber this morning as well, saying that Tottenham are in advanced talk to sign Marcos Senesi as a free agent this summer, subject to retaining Premier League status. Nothing finalised, is still open, and interest in the 28-year-old centre-back from elsewhere, but Tottenham are the leading contender at present. I find this really interesting that Spurs are the leading contender for Senesi where we are right now in the Premier League table, when you've got teams that have been linked with him, like Chelsea, like Liverpool, like this one, like that, like top clubs, you know what I mean, fighting at the right end of the table. And like this guy has put Spurs at the front of the queue. I find it bizarre.
Let's just agent talk about the other clubs to get Tottenham to put up the money to get him in, because I think he's a good centre-back. I really do. I think he's done really well at Bournemouth. He's recovered so well from that serious injury he had last season. And I, for one, given the situation we're in, I would take him 100%, especially if Van de Ven and Romero, or at least one of them, are leaving, which is very likely at the moment. I think we could do a lot worse in getting someone like Marco Senesi. Does it mean he should be starting centre-back for a team in the Champions League? Not necessarily. So I don't know how serious the interest from Chelsea and Man United is. Is it just all agent talk to try and get him to move to a bigger club? I know Tottenham, where they are, is awful. Obviously, don't get me wrong. We all know that, and we're a mess. But it doesn't mean we're not a big club in our own right. And if he can come to us and obviously back us to improve, and it's obviously a lovely facilities, all this kind of stuff it could be a good club to be at for him, especially at 28. Maybe it's linking him to the likes of Chelsea, Man United might prick Tottenham's ears up, thinking, yeah, maybe we should be going for him more. So maybe it's just agent talk rather than anything else. But for me, I don't really care. I think he's a good centre-back, and I think we do well to get him, to be honest. I think on a free, it's a very good deal. But again, contingent on us staying up, which at the moment is more unlikely than likely. So it's hard to get excited about it, but I'm very surprised that if it is true about Man United and Chelsea being interested, that he has chosen us over them, if that is the case. I
kind of feel like Spurs going for Senesi and seemingly quite close if we do stay up, I think it signals the end of Van de Ven, because Senesi, that's where he plays, left centre-back. And they're saying he's coming because of playing time. So he's not going to get much playing time if Van de Ven's going to be here. So I think it signals that Van de Ven is leaving the club. 28 years of age, Senesi, most recently in the last few international breaks, I think he's been called up to the Argentina squad. He's been place at the back with him on the left and Romero on the right. Look, I think he's a good player, and I think he's a player that will suit the way Roberto De Zerbi likes to play. So, yeah, I'm in favour of it, to be honest. But it's like Spurs, we're going for all these free transfers right now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Robertson left back, Senesi left centre back.
I wonder why.
I wonder. Anyway, let's move on and let's talk about Guillermo Vicario, as Matt Barlow of Daily Mail says that Inter Milan are confident of striking a £20 million deal for Vicario. We've spoken about Vicario and Inter Milan so many times. He's been linked together pretty much the whole season. But 20 million, how do you feel about that?
It's not a great deal, but it's not. You're not going to get him that much more.
We signed him, 17 million or something?
So you get a bit of profit, but I mean, in an ideal world, he's probably worth somewhere between 25 and 30. But I think right now, I guess maybe it's a buyer's market. I mean, we're not going to get too much more than that. And if he wants to leave, we don't have much leverage if we want to sell him, unless De Zerbi turns around and when he has him says, look, I actually like him, I want to keep him. Then all of a sudden we have more leverage, because if Inter Milan want him, they're going to have to pay our price because we're not desperate to sell. But obviously Vicario reportedly wants to leave. He wants to go back to Italy. Reportedly we're not interested in keeping him that much. So I think 20 million makes sense. But I guess we have to wait and see what De Zerbi thinks, because De Zerbi hasn't seen him play for us yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he says he likes him. Obviously he's going to say that, isn't he? But I think you got to remember, in Ange's last 2 seasons, to be honest, he's been pretty good. The major failings have been mainly this season. I think there have been flaws in him, even in his first 2 seasons. Don't get me wrong, he hasn't been the perfect keeper. But I think largely, when the season began, we were pretty happy with Vicario. I don't think anyone had any major complaints. I think no one was saying we wanted to sell him. And now all of a sudden, as the season's gone on, everyone's like desperate to get rid. And I understand it, because he's had a shocker of a season, like a lot of our players have. But how much has the hernia played into that? He's been playing through that. How much is having a different manager who doesn't want to play the football that we want played into that? Because as much as people say he's awful at playing out the back, which I don't disagree with, when we did have Angie, it wasn't that much of an issue. Like he wasn't like giving balls away all the time.
It was always a conversation, though. It was always a conversation.
Yeah, the conversation was he's not as good as Raya or the top keepers.
The conversation was he's not as good as what we need him to be.
No, yeah, it was. It wasn't. For me, I always thought like Vicario was serviceable on the ball, but he wasn't like in the elite category. That's always what I felt. Now, since this season's happened, now he's like one of the worst in the league, and he's absolutely terrible, and he's constantly playing the ball out of play. But if you simplify it for him, maybe he is serviceable. And obviously, we know his shot stopping was brilliant up until this season, where it's completely fallen off a cliff. But again, is that down to that hernia he was suffering with that prevented him from making the saves he was making last season, or is there something deeper there, loss of confidence or whatever? So I think De Zerbi has to make that determination. If De Zerbi decides he wants to keep him, I'm not mad at it if he likes him, because I like Vicario. But at the end of the day, if we're judging it on recent form and judging it from what we have seen this season, then we have to sell him if that's going to continue.
Yeah, look, I don't think it's always been. I think it's always been a split opinion on Vicario, where some fans saying, you know what, he's all right, he's decent enough, and a lot of other fans, even last season, I remember saying he's not good enough, and not just him playing at the back, but his weakness from corners and set pieces, where he just seemed a bit too weak when trying to claim the ball and being shoved around a bit too easily. You remember that game against Everton, you remember games against Arsenal, it's happened quite regularly last season.
Yeah, but that was his first season. He had those problems, which definitely was a problem. But I thought last season it wasn't that much, like the set piece stuff. I don't think there was that much of an issue last season. I remember when he came back from that injury, and he was quite good. Before that injury, I remember he just had his best game when we beat Man City at the Etihad. He was absolutely brilliant in that game. Look, I'm not sitting here saying I definitely want Vicario to stay. I'm just saying I think I wouldn't rule it out. Is my point. I wouldn't rule it out if De Zerbi takes a look and thinks, you know what, we've got a good keeper here. With the situation we're in, can we even get a Verbruggen or whatever who we want? Maybe we can. If we can, let's get him in. If not, we could do a lot worse than Vicario if he gets back to what we had when we first got him.
Fair enough. And last but not least, we're going to talk about Archie Gray. Been a couple of interesting updates on him. Matt Barlow saying that Liverpool have eyes on signing Archie Gray in the summer if Tottenham are relegated from the Premier League. A less reliable source, Give Me Sports, says that Archie Gray is reportedly considered untouchable by everyone at Spurs and is expected to be lured into staying at Spurs even if they should be relegated. It's understood that Gray has no reasons to leave the club, reportedly is happy at Tottenham and wants to give his best on the pitch to help improve the club's dire situation. Very interesting if Liverpool come in from in the summer.
Yeah.
Writing's on the wall for me if Liverpool come in.
Yeah, I think he probably goes to Liverpool. I mean, depending on how much they offer, because I think someone like Gray depending on who else we sell and how much money we drum up from other sales, I think someone like Gray is going to be one we earmark to keep, I think, regardless. He's going to be one we're going to try and build the future around because he's a young player we've invested heavily in. So it's going to take a hefty offer from Liverpool to get him in. But if they do offer it, I think it's going to be hard for us to turn it down. And it's going to be hard for Gray to not look at that and think, yeah, I mean, that's a great move for me. I hazard a guess. I think if we go down, I think Gray stays. I don't think he goes anywhere. And I think we build the future around him. I don't think Liverpool come in with a big 50, 60 million pound bid. I don't see that happening.
Well, I mean, they would have to. We signed him for 40 million.
That's what I'm saying. So I think they're going to try and get him because we're down, where they're going to try and get him on the cheap, like, put in a 30 million bid or something, test the waters. And when we say no, they probably go somewhere else.
Yeah, look, maybe, but I think that he's proven this season, in my opinion, that he's a Premier League player. He's proven that he's got a very big future. Not the perfect player, obviously. He's still got a lot of growing to do and a lot of maturing to do. But I still think for his age, he's showing big signs of maturity. So I wouldn't be surprised if big clubs, definitely Premier League clubs, are interested in him this summer. But I do think, probably in this current market, he's worth around 40, 50 million at this current moment in time. And I doubt that Liverpool would scoff at that, to be honest, with the amount of money they're spending. And they're talking about some midfielders leaving this summer as well. I saw some reaction from Liverpool fans on the post on social media, and they were all bang up for it. They were like, this Archie Gray is phenomenal. Watch some of his performances this season, especially against big teams like Atletico Madrid. And they were saying, get this guy in, 50, 60 million, pay the money. But will Liverpool actually do that? Who knows? But look,
he doesn't start for Liverpool though, does he?
No, he won't start, but he's 20 years of age. So he'll still see significant game time with all the competitions that they're in. And you never know, in a couple of years, he could be a starter. So, look, that is the Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have brought you today. Let's move on and let's look forward to the game this weekend for, 5:30 kickoff at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Team news as relayed by Roberto De Zerbi. Only 7 out at this moment in time. So
the list is shrinking a bit, albeit whenever we lose one, we seem to get one up again. Obviously, Romero confirmed ruled out for the whole season, so that's obviously a massive blow. He will not be playing this weekend, although he said no final decision made on him, which I'm assuming talking about surgery potentially, whether that will rule him out the World Cup. Vicario, you said, is still out. He's not going to be available this weekend. We'll see about next week. Maddison, obviously, we said he's back in training and pictured in training with the first team, which is really great. But they don't want to push him or put a timeline on him because they don't want to push him like they did Kudus, and he re-injured himself. Obviously, he's out for the season, and obviously Davis, Odebear, and most likely Decky at this point are out for the season. I guess we haven't heard about Decky. We don't know what's going on with him. We just have to assume if his name's not being mentioned, there's probably a reason.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I guess the only ones on that list that we're going to see this season is probably Maddison.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. So
on that list, you got Vicario coming.
And Vicario, sorry, yeah. So, what formation do you reckon we're going to same again? Because it was, I think it was mainly the personnel that was used in the formation, why it didn't work. But
I think he will go the same formation. I don't think he changes formation. I don't think he just goes 3 at the back. I think, listening to what he's saying, I think the fact that he started with, if he started the game with Sunderland with 3 at the back, I think he'd probably just pursue that from now to the end of the season. I think he's going to try and get a little bit of consistency and try and simplify it a bit. I think part of the problem this season for Tottenham is we've just kept chopping and changing this formation, that formation. That doesn't work. That until we change it the next week, and we've really lacked any sort of stability in terms of how we play on the pitch, and it's confusing for the players. I think he's going to try and strip that out. Whether it works or not, it might not be good enough to work anyway. But I think the fact that he started forward back, I think he's going to continue with it. I don't think he's going to just change it straight away.
Yeah,
that's what I feel.
I agree. So 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, I mean, 4-2-3-1. But I guess we learned a bit from who we played against Sunderland, but how many changes he'll make. Obviously, there's some players coming back. It's going to be very interesting. Does he? Because we just weren't very effective. So does he make wholesale changes? Does he keep it like virtually the same if he can? I don't
think he'll keep it virtually the same. It just really didn't work. So I think changes are going to have to be made. We know in goal is going to be Anton Kinski though.
Yeah, for sure. He had a good game. He talked him up. The presser said played very well, so he's happy with him.
Right, yeah. So Kinski in goal. Right back is definitely going to be Pedro Porro.
I think so. I think he's a very important player for us and for De Zerbi as well. So yeah, he'll be playing right.
No, I think we know the back four. I think we can safely say the back four is going to be Porro, Danso, Van der Ven, and Udogie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't see any of that changing. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all we can do unless you want to put Dragoshin in there.
No, I think that's going to be the back
that's
four.
all we can do.
The midfield is going to be interesting because he's saying Yves Bissouma is 100% raring to go, more fit than he was last week. Bentancur, he says, doesn't know whether he's going to start. I think Bentancur, we can say he's going to be on the bench, in my opinion. Who goes in the deep-lying roles in midfield?
So
I think it very well could be Bissouma and Gray.
See, I think it's not going to be Gray because he hooked Gray after 55 minutes. I think he wasn't happy with him in that game. I've got a feeling it's going to be Bissouma and Gallagher. That's my feeling because I think he kept Gallagher on, didn't he?
You're telling me he was happy with Gallagher?
I don't know if he was happy with him, but he kept him on. You know, and he didn't. Did he keep? I think he kept him on, didn't he?
Gallagher stayed on, yeah.
Yeah, he kept him on.
Well, until the 85th minute.
Yeah. So, I think there was some reports that there's some things Gray was doing which he just wasn't happy about, and then he hooked him straight away. With Bissouma back now, I think we kind of need Bissouma in that midfield. I kind of feel like we need him.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's about who partners him. Obviously, I wouldn't mind Bergvall, but whether Bergvall gives in that part at the moment what De Zerbi's wanting, I guess is Gallagher, but he started Gallagher in the pivot and he's been talking him up a lot. So I kind of feel like he likes Gallagher at the moment. It could be Sarr, who came on, but then he came on and didn't play in the pivot. He played in at the 10, which was very odd. So if I'm predicting, obviously you've got Paolini, who did come on, but I don't know if he was impressed by his cameo. But then again, who was he impressed by? I got a feeling, if I'm guessing it's going to be Bissouma and Gallagher.
I just think, looking at that Gallagher performance, it was the worst one of the lot in midfield for me. I think he was...
I don't think De Zerbi agrees with you.
Particularly in the second half. I think it was absolutely shocking. I don't know what De Zerbi would have seen from Conor Gallagher. At least as well, Gray's got a bit of form behind him. I know De Zerbi hasn't been here, but he's very much been watching from afar. And he would have seen the Gallagher performances and he would have seen Archie Gray's performances. I think Archie Gray's our most on-form midfielder right now, and I don't think you can leave him out.
I agree. I'm just saying what I think De Zerbi will do. I think De Zerbi's going to put Bissouma and Gallagher. I'm saying he hooked Gray in the last game. He didn't hook Gallagher, so I think he must have thought Gallagher was doing better. And I think he probably thinks Gallagher is better right now. So I think he's going to start him. And I think he's probably going to partner with Bissouma.
I think maybe he kept Gallagher on the pitch because of what he could potentially give us offensively, where Gray is not really, doesn't really give you as much as, if they're both on their best, the attributes Gray has and Gallagher has. Gallagher has the opportunity to smash the box with those late runs that he showed at Chelsea, where Gray hasn't really shown that. I mean, Gray went off with half an hour to go. It's not exactly a stinker and hooked time to go off.
They were ready for him to go off before. They had the 3 subs come on, and
for a minute or two.
Yeah, I'm saying but even before the goal was scored from Sunderland, he was already ready to take Gray off.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't about us needing a goal. I think he didn't like what he saw from Gray in that game. I think so. He took him off, And there was reports of him complaining about some of the stuff Gray was doing on the touchline just before he hooked him. So I got a feeling, that's just my feeling. Look, for me, I would rather start Gray because he's been playing better and he's showing more, but I think he's going to start Gallagher. I think he's going to go Bissouma and Gallagher.
Maybe he won't go either of them. Maybe he'll go for Pape.
He could go for Pape, but he didn't play him in the pivot when he came on.
Maybe he'll go for Paulinho.
I really don't.
Because he brought on Paulinho, was that 0-0?
He brought him on with...
he brought him in for Gray, but that's what I was saying. He were preparing him at 0-0.
Yeah. I really don't want to see Paulinho and Bissouma in a pivot. I really don't want to see that. I think it's going to be Gallagher. I think he is. I think he's been talking him up, and I think he's played him the whole pretty much most of the game.
Yeah, thing is, it's hard to read into him talking players up because he's been talking everyone up, literally everyone. He's just trying to instill some confidence into the team, so it's hard to say, oh, he's literally talked everyone up.
Yeah, but he went into more detail about Gallagher than most other players, I would say. I don't know. I think it's going to be Gallagher.
If Gallagher plays, I want to see him in the 10. I don't want to see him in a deep role. I think he's terrible in a deep role.
Question is, I don't know what he does in the 10.
Look, if you're so certain it's going to be Gallagher, go certain. Gallagher. I don't think it's going to be Gallagher.
I think it will be.
We seem to have this conversation every week about Gallagher. I'm always saying, no, it's not going to be Gallagher. You'll say, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Yeah.
But look, we're going for Bissouma and Gallagher. In the 10, it has to be Javi. I'm sorry, it has to be Javi.
I really hope so. I mean, obviously, when Bergvall, and it was a complete failure, I think he was...
Bergvall's not a 10.
He was what I thought he was one of the worst players on the pitch.
He was.
Unfortunately,
he was.
As much as I love him, he was so bad.
It has to be Javi.
I think it's going to be Javi. I think Javi's going to start as well. I think he's going to turn to him. I really hope he does.
It has to be. It has to be Javi. Our most creative player in the team. Get him in the 10 at home. Onus is on Spurs. Come on, it has to be Javi.
All right, Javi. Then, question is, how do we approach the front three? Because he went with Charleston, Solanke, and Moani.
Yeah.
Which no one really liked.
Yeah.
He's just called, I just watched the presser, he said Solanke is the best striker, one of the best strikers in the league, and he wants to get him back to that.
Are you telling me he really believes that?
He might do. Solanke was a very good striker before he came to us.
He had one good season, yeah.
Yeah, but he's, I think he's a very good striker. I just think...
where does he rank in terms of Premier League strikers? Is he a top 5 striker?
No, he's not a top 5.
So it depends what you mean by one of the best striker in the Premier League.
I think he's trying to instill confidence in him, but when he's at his best, he's a good striker. He's not like the best goal scorer, but I think the stuff that we really rated Solanke on, like his incredible ability to hold the play under pressure, bring other players into play, turning on his man and dribbling into space. We haven't seen that.
Look, I don't doubt that Solanke's a good striker, but him saying he's one of the best strikers in the Premier League is obviously gassing him up.
Yeah. Does he go with him? Does he go with Rishi, who he played on the left last time, was weirdly the one who had the most chances, but obviously he fluffed them. I don't want to see him on the left again, but I kind of do want to see him on the pitch. I kind of want to see him up front. But if we're going with a lone striker, I kind of might want to see Solanke. I don't know. I definitely want to see Tell on the left. Is he going to go with Tell, or is he going to continue with Rishi, though?
Don't know. Does he rate Tell?
Yeah, it's a question. I don't know.
Don't know if he rates Tell. Otherwise, I thought he would have played him because he was our only natural winger and he left him on the bench. So I'm not even sure he rates Tell.
Yeah, but after what he saw from Rishi, and then he hooked him.
Yeah, and Tell came on and was even worse.
Yeah, he wasn't good either. But I think Richie just looked so stiff when he came on.
Richie was a lot more of a threat than Tell.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Can't argue with that.
I think he persists with Richie on the left. I really do.
All right. So same front three.
I think if he brings Intel, he might bring him in on the right. Or but I don't think he play. I think Richie and Solanke definitely play. It's all about if it's Moani or Tell, and I think maybe he brings in Tell on the right.
I hope he does. Even if it's Tell, I'd rather see Tell on the right than Moani. definitely. Is that what he's going to do? Could he play Spence on the right?
He could. He very well could, but I kind of feel if Moani's not going to play that, it will be Tell. That's what I feel. But I'm not sure which one he's going to go for.
Yeah, Moani
I don't want to see Moani, man. I really don't want to see Moani. And as much as, we talk about Richie, he had good moments on the left wing at the back end of last season. And what you got to say about Richarlison is whatever you want to say about his quality, he's fighting for the team right now. So I think De Zerbi will definitely appreciate that and persist with him.
Yeah, I just don't think he has the physicality to be a left winger anymore, unfortunately. I think he can kind of do a job there a bit, but in terms of being like a proper option there, I think his days of left wing should probably be done.
See, I did think that was a problem on the Sunderland game. The problem was his end product. That was it was just way too tame shots.
I felt like I think his body just can't it can't run into space too much. There was that one moment he kind of half beat a player, and then he just completely ran out of steam and then kicked out for a goal kick. 'Cause he just couldn't. His body couldn't keep up with him anymore. I feel like he got into a couple of good positions and then fluffed the shot.
Yeah.
Which was a shame. Anyway, I don't know. I think he's probably going to go Moani again. If we're saying Richie on the left. He's probably going to go Moani again anyway.
It'd be frustrating if he goes, what has Moani done? Why does every manager play him?
He's versatile, I don't know.
He's versatile, he's crap.
He's crap in every position. He's consistent.
He's literally consistently crap, Moani.
What's chat saying?
Has he even scored a Premier League goal yet?
Against Arsenal.
That's the only one, huh? In a 4-1 defeat.
Someone says Richie Solanke, Tell on the right.
I would much prefer to see that. Richie Solanke and Tell on the right.
I mean, I would. Is he going to do it, though? I would do Tell on the left. Yeah, maybe Tell on the right and Richie on the left, Solanke up front. Yeah. All right, so let's put Tell there. Let's hope he sees sense.
Would you consider Conor Gallagher in the 10?
No. Oh, okay, yeah.
Gallagher in the 10, Gray in the pivot with Javi on the left and Tell on the right.
Yeah.
I think that could be a decent way to go.
Drop Rishi.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll do that, though.
I don't think he'll drop Rishi. I think Rishi was one of our better players on the weekend. Not saying he was good.
Again, he hooked him, didn't he, on 55?
Yeah, they came on the 61st minute. But yeah, the subs were ready to go before then.
All right, let's go with that. With this.
All right. Well, this is the lineup that we're going for. Kinski in goal, Porro, Danso, Van der Ven and Udogi. Bissouma and Conor Gallagher in the double pivot with Tell on the right, Richie on the left, Javi Simmons in the 10 with Dominic Solanke up top. So, at the beginning of the stream, you said you're raring to go. You said these last few days have given you optimism.
Yeah,
you've seen
incredible,
the
100%. I stand by it.
You've seen the training.
I have, and I think I'm going to go with a bold prediction of we're going to score a goal, and that's an improvement. But we're not going to win. We'll score though. We'll score. It's better than we've done recently.
Nah, we're going to do these lot. We're going to do them.
I hope and pray that you're correct. I hope
we're going to do them.
I think my prediction is 2-1 Brighton.
You know, so often I've predicted Spurs to get the result, and so often I've been wrong. Surely, law of averages. Surely, at some point, I'm going to be right. There's got to be a time.
The results, I think if you correlate the when we both predict a win compared to when we both predict a loss, we definitely get more results when we both predict a loss in general, I reckon. So come on the dark side and maybe we'll get the result.
I have predicted loads of losses this season. And I've been right every time probably I predicted a loss. So,
Ben says funny feeling?
Yeah, definitely.
Funny feeling galore.
The last time
Funny feeling FC.
I think the last time I actually predicted a loss, apart from, I think the last time I predicted a loss was when we lost 2-1 to Fulham.
No, what about Liverpool?
Liverpool, yeah.
God.
But before that was Fulham.
That feeling is funny, said Will Parsons.
The funny feelings have come back, people. I didn't have one last week, but this week. Right, 2-1 Spurs.
Sneaking suspicions. Is that?
Let's fucking have it. 2-1 Spurs.
Come on. Go on, Spurs.
Let's get into some super chats before we get into the match preview. Jake Coys saying, letting Scarlett go was a mistake with no coverage as much as Johnson. No one was bothered. Kane was loaned out until he started scoring, plus another week of keeping my head of hair.
Because he said he's not cutting his hair till we win.
He said, if Spurs win, I'm going to be cutting my hair. But then he said, like, nah, you're not doing it. Do you remember?
And he said, like, nah, yeah, I remember. yeah. What do you mean? We replaced Scarlett. We've got James Wilson, mate.
By the way, Dane Scarlett is barely getting minutes for Hibs right now. He hasn't scored a goal all season.
We've got James Wilson.
So I think it's safe to say Scarlett's off at the end of the season.
We took him from the Gooners.
Yeah, he's doing well for the under-21s.
Yeah, get him in.
Powery says, what happens when he doesn't start Javi again? What happens is Javi will be on the bench.
And we'll lose. We won't score again.
And Joshua Bonner says, Colo and Tell are fast. With the fast BTN... Well, who's BTN? Youngsters?
Brighton?
Oh, Brighton leave. That would go great. Bissouma has to step up, channel his Brighton days. He's such a good player. When
Space Brighton leave, that will be great. That's what he meant in the first sentence.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree. Brighton will leave space, but are we going to be able to capitalise on it?
Bissouma and De Zerbi both know Brighton well. Let's hope coming comes to their old team. They maybe have a few little things. Maybe they know some things which we would maybe overlook. And we'll be able to capitalise it. You're absolutely right. I've got no clue.
Anyway, let's get into it. Tottenham have said there's going to be a flag on every single seat in the stadium for fans to wave and build up the atmosphere during and before the game. Some say it means that Spurs are waving the white flag a bit too early.
Yeah. It's amazing. For a team that's thrown the white flag all season now, they want fans to join in, they're saying. They want the fans to join in. Get flags for everyone. Everyone have a white flag. Spurs
doing a 2-for-1 drink offer again. But you got to get in over an hour before kickoff. Line some more money into ENIC's pockets. Profiting off relegation, what ENIC are doing right now. But look, I think there's an interesting conversation to be had about this game because De Zerbi says he's undecided on his captain going into the final stretch with the 6 games left because Romero's out injured. What do you make out of that? I mean, I think he's still going to go for Van de Ven.
Listening to his press conference, he was saying how he hasn't decided, but he feels like everyone can be a leader. He was like, he said, I want Van de Ven to step up and show leadership. He says, I see Solanke as being one of the leaders. Obviously, he's talking about Maddison as well, but he's obviously unavailable. He's talking about Xavi, even he on the ball, he's a leader because he likes to take the ball under pressure. I think he probably will land on Van de Ven just because he's captained the team quite a lot this season, and he's obviously a guaranteed starter. And there was a point where we were praising him when he was captain, but
it's interesting though because like Van de Ven has been the vice captain, him and Vicario all season, which obviously lands on Van de Ven because Vicario's out. Why wouldn't he just say, "Oh yeah, Vicario's the vice captain. Vicario should be captain"? Why wouldn't he just say that?
Because he hasn't decided.
So it makes me think maybe something is, behind the scenes on training. Maybe he's just not happy with what Van de Ven's showing.
Obviously, we know in the last few months his form has dropped dramatically. There's a lot of fans saying his head's turned, all this kind of stuff, and maybe there's truth to it. Who knows? Or maybe he just feels like Van de Ven shouldn't be vice captain for whatever reason, and should be someone else. Gallagher.
No
could
chance.
Could he be captain?
No chance.
Could he give Gallagher the captaincy?
No chance.
Just coming into the team. What about Porro? Could be him. He does like to shout. Just like to throw his arms in the air, like pumping the crowd up.
Looking at the team that we picked, I think Porro is the only other candidate. I can't see anyone else. Not going to be Kinski. It's not going to be Danso. Not going to be a Doggy, Bissouma, Gallagher, Javi. Maybe Solanke. Porro or Solanke are the only two, in my opinion.
Yeah. No Greg Ritchie?
Nah.
Captain Ritchie?
Can't see it.
I think Ritchie over Solanke, wouldn't it? I don't know. Maybe not. Bissouma?
Nah. I think Porro.
Balloons all round? Balloons to get everyone pumped?
I think if it's not going to be Van der Ven, it's going to be Porro. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Brian Daigle's calling for Danso. Danso's captain.
I mean, Danso's a decent player, and he keeps up his standards, and he's got, big aerial strength, but I don't see a captain in him.
Yeah, I don't think he's not much of a leader in that way, I don't think. I don't know, that's not what I see anyway. He might be, but...
I think as a captain, you need someone with stature in the squad. Danso, as much as he's a squad player at the end of the day.
What, Paulinia?
Yeah. Maybe Paulinia.
But he's not going to start, or he probably won't start. He might, I guess, if he does start.
Porro actually has captained the game this season.
He has. All right, maybe Porro. Let's say Porro.
I think it's either Porro or Van der Ven. Those are the two.
I think Porro may be more likely. Got a feeling.
Yeah.
Funny feeling.
Well, we'll see how that materialises. Some more comments from De Zerbi in the press conference talking about Romero, saying, Romero, I'm really sorry for him and his injury. He loves Tottenham. People have to know he's suffering from his injury. He's suffering because he can't play for us. We have to be positive. We have Dragshi and Danso. They're ready to play, ready to be strong defensively for us. And then he was just going on about the captain situation. He goes, Romero loves Tottenham. He loves us. He loves us to stay this in the summer.
Not that much, unfortunately. I don't think it's a lie. I do think he likes. I think he signed a contract for a reason. I do think he wants us to be a good team, and I think he does like being here. But unfortunately, look, the fans know it better than anyone about how this club is and how we've been run and the problems that we have, and they are very deep and they're very high up. And I think we've been disgruntled for many, many years, and now it's seeped down to the players. And it doesn't surprise me that Romero is at the head of that, and he's probably the chief of the disgruntlement brigade. So it doesn't surprise me that, given what's gone on here, he does want out. He does want to leave. Like, I don't think he hates the club or the fans, but I think what we've become, I don't think he wants to be any part of that. And it doesn't shock me. What
player do you think does hate the club and the fans?
Who does hate the club and the fans?
Yeah.
Maybe Bissouma.
You think Bissouma hates the fans?
Not the fans, but maybe I don't think he likes how we've treated him, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think we've treated him badly. It's him. He's the one that's been unprofessional.
Huh? I understand that, but still, I reckon he might feel like we've treated him. You say that. He has been, but, he's maybe been treated not badly, but he's been disciplined when other players haven't been. Where we haven't disciplined Romero.
Yeah. Only Romero, yeah.
I'm not saying anyone hates the club. I'm just saying I think he does like Tottenham, and I think he likes being. He wants it to be a good club. I think he wants the best for Tottenham.
But I'm saying, who doesn't want Tottenham to be a good club? They're all Tottenham players.
Mm-hmm.
So surely they all want Tottenham to be a good club.
I think Van der Ven, I reckon, couldn't care less. I reckon he's happy.
You wouldn't have said that at the back end of last season and the start of this season, only because we've been embroiled in a relegation battle in the second half of the season.
He's
been acting up.
With Neville as well, trying to engineer moves, and he hasn't been here as long as Romero.
But Van der Ven's been doing that because of the way the club has been, not because he didn't believe in something when he joined and doesn't want the club to be good. If the club was in a good way, he would want to stay.
Yeah.
And that's the same with Romero.
Mm-hmm. So what's your point?
No, you made those comments about Romero, and I'm saying that could be said about any of the players.
Yeah.
It's not specific to Romero.
True.
So, I don't know if he loves Tottenham. He just wants to be part of a good team.
I think he does. I think he loves the club. And he's very passionate about it. maybe too passionate about it. I think maybe is his problem.
You reckon?
Yeah.
He's also talking about. He says we have no time to lose. We have no time to understand the problems. We have spent this season and we have to be focused just on the next game and to transfer confidence to I can bring my philosophy of football. I'm working to create a good atmosphere, a good relationship with the players. And I think in the moment, especially for Tottenham, in this season, in this moment of football, the qualities of the players are important, but the spirit, the relationship between the players, the love the players put for the club are more important for sure. I'm positive, ready to fight. I believe to keep in the Premier League. I believe in what I said last week. It's crucial to win a game, not just for the table, but to feel again how nice it is to win a game. There's no doubt about the quality of the players. And I think that's what it's all about, man. Just getting that monkey off your back. If you get that monkey off your back this week or next week, then I really believe it gives us a good chance of staying up.
I mean, for me, when I hear that, I think he's right. But he's right only because we don't have the time. So that's all we have left is those other sort of relationships and everything. When all else fails, that's all you got to fall back on, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And
all else has failed.
And I understand that, but my point is, it might not be enough. Everyone else has had more time than us to, develop, to work out their problems as a team, work out what their strengths are, figure everything out. And obviously, he's come in this situation when there is no time to sort any of that out, where that would be the most important thing, but we just don't have the time for that. So it's obviously hard to hear. It's the truth, but it's hard to hear that there's no time to work out the problems because it would be nice to know where the problems are and how we can fix it, but because
there are too many to work out.
I understand that, but that's what you got to try and do as a football team, isn't it? In the perfect world, you work out your problems, you sort them out, and then you start winning games. And that's obviously we're not going to have time to do that. So we're in a situation where we basically have to win through the power of friendship, and hopefully that'll be enough.
I just feel like confidence is such a big thing in football, and he's going to instill the fundamentals of his game and his tactics and everything like that. And I just feel these players getting something in this game, whether it be a draw, maybe not a draw, but if they can get a win in this game, it will just instill that kind of belief and that confidence that we can actually get out of it, because I don't think there's that confidence or belief right now.
Agreed. I think when it's this stage of the season, I think momentum is everything. Mm-hmm. Momentum is everything. And one win can change. You've seen it. How many times have you seen it? Teams at the bottom, they look down and out, and then just one thing goes their way, and all of a sudden the next week they get a win as well, and all of a sudden, no wins in 10 becomes 2 wins in 2, and all of a sudden the whole thing looks different, the whole picture looks different. So we've definitely seen it before. So we just got to hope that each and every game is that turning point. Just the problem is we've been hoping that for 14 games in a row, and it hasn't happened.
Yeah,
doesn't mean it can't, but I'm just saying the likelihood of it happening is getting smaller and smaller with each game. But
yeah,
you never know. You never know. I mean, hoping it happens against the most informed team in the league is quite something. But look, it has to start somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, but 5 weeks ago they couldn't buy a win, Brighton, and then suddenly it all clicked, and now they're the most exactly, and now they're the most informed team in the league. So it does look bleak. Looking at these stats and these form figures, it looks completely. They've won 4 of their last 5. It says a green win in there, but that was not even a win because it was a second leg of a Champions League phase that we went out. So we actually haven't won a game in a very long time.
Even when we won, we still lost.
Exactly. So it's hard to just envisage that Spurs are going to win. It's hard to see, judging by the stats and the numbers behind every single facet of this game, how are Spurs going to get the result because of the form that Spurs are on, the form that Brighton are on, the confidence levels that the Brighton players are showing, the confidence levels that the Spurs players are showing. I know I've said Spurs are going to win, but actually, if you think about it and you deep it, it's just like, how the hell Spurs going to win?
I completely agree. I mean, I know. Obviously, we don't want to think about it in that way, and we don't want to think there's no hope or anything. And obviously, I think whenever any game of football happens, once that whistle goes, as the old cliche says, it's 11 against 11. It's 90 minutes. Anything can happen. And that's absolutely right. But the reality is, you look at how things have gone for us, it's hard to envisage that we're going to start, against a team who are super in form, who, when they are on form, they do pop it around very confidently. They put you on the back foot. They suffocate you. Sometimes you end up chasing shadows. You don't get near them. They even against some of the best teams. I watched them play. I know Arsenal beat them, but I watched them play Arsenal at the Amex a few weeks ago, and I thought they were brilliant. Arsenal really struggled to deal with them, and Arsenal got very lucky to come away with a victory. And maybe we can get lucky, but our point is, Arsenal are top of the league right now, and they went to Brighton and really struggled in that game, and only luck won that game for them. So to think that we're gonna turn up in this game and just play our game and that'll be enough, we're gonna have to somehow. I don't know how we're going to do it. We're going to have to somehow shithouse a victory here.
We're going to need another game like when Brighton under De Zerbi came to Spurs a couple of years ago. Like that game,
that
Brighton,
was 1 in a million.
they played us off the park, but such big decisions went against Brighton that day. Like
3
literally,
penalty decisions.
Yeah, it was just mad. Like basically, it was like what we saw against Sunderland, but times 3. Basically, that's what it was like, and that's what we're going to need. We need a game like that, just where some luck goes our way. Because no luck is going our way at all.
And then we need it to happen another 2 times.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think if luck goes our way this weekend and we somehow shithouse a result, then suddenly we're going into that Wolves game thinking that we can go and win. Mm-hmm. Right now, I don't think we can go to Wolves and win.
No.
But if we win this weekend with a bit of luck and some refereeing decisions go our way, I think the confidence will get into players like they remember how to win again. They've won a game. And then all of a sudden, you go to that Wolves game confident and probably favourites.
I think definitely momentum in that sense, and the feeling can change. I think there's only real belief when you feel like you've earned the win, in terms of like you've actually deserved to win a game and then you win it. I think that's when belief really gets fueled. I think just winning like luckily and without really obviously it can definitely change the mood and you get that little boost, but whether that changes our fortunes totally, it wouldn't be necessarily as true as if we earned a win by deserving it. So the reality is right now, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care if you offered me a 1-0 win off someone's backside and 3 penalty calls and goal line technology failing when Brighton score and all that kind of stuff and we end up 3 points, then I'll take it right now because we don't look like winning any game. But whether a lucky win is going to be enough to change our fortunes, I still think I don't know. I don't know at this point. I think we need to have a win which we actually play well and deserve to win it.
Yeah, obviously that's the preference, but I genuinely believe they just need to have that taste of winning because they just have not won in so long. I don't think it matters how this win comes. Just get that win, get that taste, remember what it feels like to win a game, and then maybe something can snowball from there.
Yeah, you just got to hope. You're right. I think that's just what you got to hope for at this moment in time, because the thought of Tottenham deserving a win right now is fanciful.
Yeah, it is. But like you said before, it's 11v11. You never know what can happen. Brighton, you're looking at their last 3 away games. They haven't conceded a goal. They've won their last 3 games. They're not conceding goals right now, and we're not scoring goals. So even that, those stats, just how, you just can't envisage it. You got Mats Wiefer last week scoring 2 goals, who's never scored 2 goals in his career. You got Danny Welbeck having probably the best season of his career right now. It's just, I don't know, man. I just don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm just praying to God it's going to happen.
As much as they are a good team, and they are in very good form, they're not unbeatable. We know that. We know they're not this incredible team that we have no chance against. Hopefully we're going to come into this game and there will be opportunities for us to impose ourselves. It's about whether we do it or not. Brighton aren't this incredible killer of a team, which that it's I'm not going to this game thinking, wow, Brighton are just so good. What are we going to do? I'm just thinking it's more about we're so bad, even a decent team like Brighton, what are we ever going to do against them?
It's true, but also the reality of it is no team in the league probably want to face Brighton right now with the form that they're on.
Yeah, they're on very good form.
Arsenal on a title race, Man City, they probably don't want to face Brighton right now. That's probably the least team that they want to face right now.
Yeah.
So as much as we're saying, yeah, you're right, they're not this unbeatable
They're not
team.
like blowing teams away.
No, they're not, but they're winning. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, they're winning.
And they've got something to play for as well. You know, they've got a outside chance of getting the European football. And I think they're actually in a good place to get European football with the momentum that they've got.
Against Burnley had a lot of chances in that game. And they had 2 goals ruled out for VAR, didn't they? So,
look, you can create chances against them, but you need to put those chances away. We haven't showed an ability to put chances away.
All season.
Yeah. So we need suddenly to Dominic Solanke to get his shooting boots back on, actually have a few shots. He had 1 shot against Sunderland, fluffed his lines in the last minute of the first half. He needs to get into more goal-scoring opportunities. We need Richarlison to carry on getting in those goal-scoring opportunities, but actually be clinical and have a shot with venom. Don't just have a P-roller that Verbruggen just could pick up off the floor. You know what I mean? We need these players to become instinctive killers, which they haven't been all season, so it's fanciful thinking.
Yeah. I just don't think that's their kind of game. I don't think that's what they are. I think Richarlison is a 1 in 4 striker in terms of given 4 chances, he'll connect well with one of them.
Well, he had 3 chances against Sunderland, didn't score, so maybe the 4th one goes in against Brighton.
But that's just what he is. And you know, if you give him enough chances, he'll look. He scored how many goals this season? 9 goals. So he can score, but you have to just keep supplying him with chances. I think Solanke is never really been a clinical striker. He's more of a definitely swinging crosses in and pullbacks. He can get on the end of those, but you know, asking him to slot home a 1-on-1 from a tight angle, he won't. He's just not that kind of striker. Ask him to cut inside from edge of the area and bury it into the bottom corner. He ain't going to do that. That's not his kind of game. You have to get into him in and around that 6-yard box and try and get him an easy finish.
But he was so good in his last season at Bournemouth at getting crosses in the box, bullet headers into the point blank range. Like, we need to get him in those areas with Porro. And Porro, he's been spamming the crosses against Sunday. I think 11 crosses on the day, only 4 successful. He needs to get a lot better at his delivery and get back to what he's best at.
Yeah.
And if we can get him in the good areas, putting some good balls into the box for Solanke, that's where the danger zone is going to be.
Problem is, we just don't progress the ball, do we, from the middle? And so we don't get up the pitch hardly ever. And we end up going long all the time. And we end up, giving the ball away or not being in the situation to pen a team in or get players in the box. It's just a consistent problem.
Yeah. And a big problem of that on the weekend was not having someone like Javi Simmons, not having a creator, not having a hub of the team in the middle of the park, just losing the ball consistently. Like, we need someone that can create in those middle areas. And we had Bergvall there on the weekend, and he was just losing the ball consistently, not winning his duels as well. He didn't win 1 duel on the weekend against Sunderland.
Touched the ball the least of anyone.
So, Javi Simmons can do that. He can win his duels, and he can create, and he can pick out a pass.
Yeah.
I think it's imperative that Javi plays.
I agree. And as well, I think Javi had one of his better games when we played Brighton earlier in the season as well. I think in this kind of game, I think it should be perfect for him. Mm-hmm. This is the kind of games you want someone like Javi in. If you are going to try and play some football against this team and go toe-to-toe, you need better footballers on the pitch, and Javi's one of our better ones. So I think this is one of the games where I could see him getting a bit more joy than some of the others we've seen.
It's interesting, though, because the last 2 probably decent performances that we had were Liverpool and Manchester City. And where do those performances just randomly pull out from? I mean, maybe Liverpool less or so, but that Man City game at the Tottenham Hotspur, that felt like watching Tottenham again, didn't it?
In the second half, it did.
In the second half, yeah. And we came back from 2-0 down. You can't ever envisage us coming back from 2-0 down.
Never.
So
we haven't come back to win any game.
Where the hell did that second half performance come from Man City? Because that's what we need to channel.
Because Xavi was amazing. Gallagher was really good. Solanke turned up and did a scorpion kick.
And we know, we could show up, we could do it. We've got it in us to do it. We just haven't done it in so long.
Yeah. We actually put City under pressure. We create chances against them. They struggled to live with us at that point. And we thought that was a turning point, didn't we, for a lot of our players? And it was a full storm in the end. I don't know. I don't really know. Was it more Man City letting us back in the game than it was, and them taking their foot off the gas, than it was Tottenham being good? It's hard to really know, because at the moment we can't seem to recreate it.
But even so, whenever teams take their foot off the gas, we still can't do anything.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's hard to say it's because of that. Like, Spurs actually looked like they wanted it. They actually played well. We were popping it around. Like, we haven't done that since then, pretty much. No matter how the opposition play. It literally doesn't matter how the opposition play.
Yep.
We don't have an ability to...
Do anything.
Yeah, to pass. We don't have an ability to pass. We don't have ability to create a shot. We don't have ability to create a chance.
The City game wasn't about passing. That was very direct, attacking into the channels, getting crosses in and balls over the top. It wasn't like we kept possession really well and penned them in. And it was basically just like we won the ball in the middle of the park and just directly hit them on very quick attacks. I think most teams don't leave the space that City leave. The City are very brave in their possession.
As are Brighton.
But City even more so. And we were just, I think they were 2-0 up. They were absolutely battering us in that first half. They took their foot off the gas. They got complacent, allowed us to keep nicking the ball in the central areas, and on top of that, we're leaving a lot of space in behind. And on that day, Xavi, Gallagher, and Solanke were all exploiting it. And we found something, an advantage. We just haven't been able to do that since.
We had Gray at right back that day.
Gray at right back.
I think we can learn a lot actually from the midfield that day, because what I was saying was about before when we were doing the predicted lineup, I hate Gallagher deeper. I think that's the only game where we've played Gallagher a bit further forward, pretty much since he's joined us.
Was he a bit further forward?
Yeah, because we had Bissouma and Paulinho a bit deeper, and then Gallagher a tiny bit further.
Half time, if I'm right, didn't he?
For who?
Half time, I can't remember.
No, Bissouma went off on the 68th minute for Odebear.
Did we make any half time sub?
Yes, Sarr came on for Romero.
Yeah, maybe. I think. Yeah, the original. I think we have played Gallagher. No, Gallagher played on the right.
Did he play on the right?
Yeah, he played on the right.
It says Moani was on the right.
I'm pretty sure Gallagher played on the right.
So you had a front three of Moani.
Didn't we go 4-4-2 in the second half?
Potentially, you might be right there. But we had Moani, Solanke, Simmons.
Because Gallagher crossed it for that goal, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but I thought he just peeled off. I don't know if he was actually playing on the right.
I'm trying to remember now. I think he did, because we dropped Paulinho to centre-back, didn't we? And then Sarr came on.
In the second half, yeah, Paulinho
and
was
then
the centre-back.
Sarr and Bissouma in the middle. I'm pretty sure it was Gallagher on the right, Simmons off the left, and Solanke and Moani up top, if I remember rightly.
Let's go for that again. Let's go for that again then.
Why not? Why not? Nothing else has
Whatever
worked.
works, just go for it. You know what I mean? Like, nothing's working. So, I mean, like...
I think we did, didn't we? Didn't we, like, go 4-4-2 next game? What was our next game?
Our next game after City, we played United.
They went down to 10 men very early.
We played 3 at the back. Anyway, I don't know. We just need to fucking win. We just need to win. All this analysis is just null and void. Just
I know.
go and win the game, Tottenham. You're going to have everything set up for you. You're going to have fans drunk.
Waving their flags.
Waving the white flags before the game.
How long before some people start throwing those flags onto the pitch?
Oh, the elastic bands are going to be going all game, I tell you that. But they're going to have it all set up for them. The stage is set. The fans are going to be in voice. The flags are going to be waving. ENIC are putting on a 2-for-1 drinks deal. Now it's up to the players to just go and perform.
Just go at them.
Exactly.
Go at them. Put them under pressure. Let them know you're there.
And you know what? Maybe you'll see it for 5 minutes, but we need to see it for 45 minutes at least.
At least. You're not asking for the whole match now. Just 45. Maybe that'll be enough to win the game. Just don't be 2-0 down at half-time. And then maybe give ourselves half a chance.
I think what we've got to say about the first hour at Sunderland, the structure was definitely better.
Yeah.
As much as we didn't see much in play possession.
I think for the first 20 minutes maybe.
Yeah, I would say maybe even less than that. But yeah. But what I'm saying, the first hour, the structure looked a lot better within the team. Everyone knew their positions, maybe not knew their roles, but knew their positions and stuck to it. And it was actually quite hard to break us down.
Yeah. And I think we defended, not amazingly, but okay. And I thought there was some moves early on, which were quite nice. And we kind of manipulated Sunderland quite well. And that's a Sunderland team who are quite good defensively. So there was something, but it's so few and far between. And the last half an hour, I think, just really took everyone, like, not by surprise, but it kind of just like, it gave everyone that feeling that this was just a complete disaster of performance again, and which it was in the end because we lost. But that last half an hour was just as bad as anything we've seen. So we just completely lost our way, and that's just something De Zerbi's going to have to handle. He's going to have to figure out why this keeps happening, why the players' heads is all over the place like it is, because that's the only way we're going to get through this. And hopefully another week with the players, you know, hopefully this slap-up dinner, hopefully the new website is going to change everything. It's going to change everything.
Apparently the new website, the players are so excited about this website.
So excited.
They are buzzing for that website.
I think just get the app to decide the captain. Get the app to decide the tactics. You don't need a manager. We've got a new website and a new app.
Exactly. That's all we need. That is all we need.
You know, apparently, you know, I've heard that this new app, it can direct you from the street all the way to your seat, and it's amazing because I've heard everyone's been having real trouble doing that. Everyone's getting lost all the time.
Can it direct the ball all the way into the back of the net?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. Can it tell the team where exactly the goal is? Because I don't know if they know.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a really nice website, though, someone said. Fantastic. I'm really happy. I'm so happy we finally have a good website. I'm over the moon, overjoyed. It's our pride and joy.
Not only do we have the best stadium in the country, not only do we have the best training facilities in the country, now we have the best website in the country as well.
Unmatched facilities at Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, it's a shame the team are 18th, though. But, you know, that's by the by. You know, it doesn't matter about the team right now. All it matters is about the infrastructure and everything around the team. Everything but the team is what matters right now at Tottenham Hotspur. But having said that, let's go and get the win. Let's go and get the win, people. We got Sim and Ashmatic on the watch long this weekend. So come and join them at what time is the game? At 5:15. Yeah, 5:15. The watch long will begin, and then the post match fan show. So please call in and have a chat with Sim and Ash after the game. I'll be there at the stadium, bringing home the 3 points.
Come on, big one. It's a big one.
We'll see you all very soon, people. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.